If you guys can hear me, just comment in the live chat that you can hear me so that we can get started. Uh, our moderator will make sure that if everything works, we can get started. Right? I think, all right, I think everything is set up and everything is ready. So, hey, what's going on, everybody? Good evening and welcome to the first webinar in this particular series that is being organized by inGenius 2020. Now, the world has been in a quite a bleak spot at this moment. There's a lot of things going on. And this time, we should be utilizing this particular situation to improve ourselves and to build good products and participate in good events like inGenius. For the first time in its history, inGenius is going international, meaning you could be anywhere in the world and participate in inGenius and win exciting prizes. And I would like to thank the entire inGenius team for giving me this opportunity to host this particular event. Today, we have with us Aditya. He is a friend and a core member at DSC, and he is going to be teaching us about Git today. So Aditya, would you like to say something for us?
Yeah, first off, thanks a lot, Amit, for such a great introduction. And once again, hey guys, I'm Aditya, and today I'll be talking about Git and GitHub. So this pandemic has really shifted everything online. Everything has been going on online for the past 6 months. It has forced change. So today I'm going to be talking about how you can collaborate with your friends and with your with people in your team on projects remotely, right? So in this webinar, we'll be talking about VCS, so what a version control system is, and we'll be also talking about the basic difference between Git and GitHub. So yeah, this is the overview of the webinar.
All right, thank you so much, Aditya. Thank you so much for giving us the overview. And also, we have some exciting things coming up for you guys in this webinar. So Aditya, would like to mention that as well. I think we should.
Yeah, okay. So towards the ending of this webinar, inGenius is first off very happy to be sponsoring with Amigoz for these webinar series. And towards the ending of this webinar, we will be hosting a quiz, and the top 3 performers in that quiz will be taking away cash prizes. So yeah, that is another exciting thing that you can wait for and take part in the quiz and win some amazing cash prizes.
Wow, that sounds good. All right, Aditya, I think you can take away this session from here onwards. I will be monitoring this session as a host, and I will also be looking at the comment sections for any important questions that pops up. So you can put your questions in the live comment section below so that we can have a look at them. And in case you have any interesting questions, we will pin that question here, and then I think Aditya will be able to answer it, or at least we both will try to answer your questions. So yeah, over to you, Aditya. You can start now.
Yeah, thanks, guys. So is my screen visible?
Yes, Aditya, it's visible. You can go ahead.
I hope it is okay. Okay, so today we will be talking about Git and GitHub, as I already mentioned. So again, because of the pandemic, we really need to learn how we can remotely work with our people and with our friends remotely. So we need to be able to collaborate with our people remotely, right? We need to be working on projects remotely. So this is where GitHub and Git comes in place. So it is high time that we understand how these work. Okay, so let us get started. And this is all of the stuff that we will be learning today. We will be going through the basics of Git and GitHub and how the GitHub workflow looks like. And towards the ending, we will also be looking at how you can use Git right from your command line. Okay, so let us move on to the very first thing, that is the basics of GitHub. So let's start by introducing Git and GitHub. Many people get confused between the two, that they think that these two are the same thing, but in fact that's not the case. Git and GitHub have essential differences. So let us try and understand what the differences are. So Git right here, Git is a version control system. Okay, and we'll talk about what a version control system is in a bit. So Git is a version control system, and it can be used along with various tools to help you collaborate on projects. And GitHub, on the other hand, is a website which hosts your Git repos, and it also helps you. It like gives you an advantage over using. It gives you a really good GUI. It has amazing features that can help you collaborate on Git even better. So GitHub again is a website, and Git is a version control system. All right. So now let us try and understand what version control is and how we can basically use it. So version control is, as the name would suggest, it is a way of keeping track of all the previous versions of your file, right? So let us say that you are working on a project. Let us just try and understand what version control is. So let us say that you're working on a project and you have a file, right? And you have written some code. So now you come up with this amazing plan of a new feature, and this feature will replace a feature that already exists in your application or anything, and you decide to make it better. So what you will do is you'll delete the code for the feature that already exists, and you will try to add in a new feature, right? So here the code for new feature will live. But unfortunately, what has happened is that this new feature did not turn out very well, and it was not as good as you expected. But you have already overwritten all the lines and you have saved this copy. So you'd have no way right now of going back to this previous version. Your app is currently crashing constantly, and it's a mess. It's a mess all over. So this is where version control can come in. So version control will keep a track. Let's say that this was version 1 of your file, and this was version 2. So version control keeps a track of all the changes that you have made. They are called commits in Git language. So a save in a normal language would be a commit in Git, right? So this is what version control is. And version control also lets you seamlessly merge. So let us actually talk about what merging is, right? So let's say that I have a file. Let's say that I have a file, and I'm working with many other people, right? I'm not the only one working in an organization. I want to collaborate with more people so that everything becomes easier. So let's say that I give a copy to a file, give a copy of this file to person A, and I give another copy to person B. So these two are working on different aspects of the app on the same file. Let us say A is implementing a login page, and B is implementing some other page, right? So A will have some particular changes on his file. Let us say that he adds some changes to his file, and B also will add the same changes to his file. But now, obviously, in our app, what we would want is that both the changes are merged together. We want all the things in our app, right? So what we do is we will try and merge these two files into one single file. This will be our official app. But if you think about it, right? So if you think about it, the merging will not be an easy process. That's because I'll have to go over every single line of A, whatever A wrote, and every single line of whatever B has, and compare them. If they're the same, I'll put it in. And if they're not the same, I'll have to check whose line is more important. And we'll talk about that later. It's called a merge conflict. So let's say that they've edited different lines. So let's say that A has edited first, third, and fourth line, and B has edited some second and fifth line. So like that, we'll have to go over every line manually and check whether the line has been edited by B or not. And only then we can merge the two files. But VCS keeps a track of this. So let us go back to the slides again and take a look. So it keeps a track of all the versions. Every time you save, or every time you commit in Git language, your file is saved as a new version, right? And as you can see, it says right here, collaborators can work in parallel and merge their changes automatically instead of manually. That's what I was trying to say. So you will not have to go over the changes one by one on the, you don't have to check each and every line again. Version control knows who has edited which line and when they've edited it. So that's how it keeps a track of all the things that you changed in a file, and it can easily merge the two. Right. So let us move forward. And again, so there is a lot of terminology behind Git, and we will be going through each and every one. So let us slowly go and try and understand what these Git terminologies mean. Okay. So the first one is a repo or a repository. Right. So repository by its name, it's quite obvious that it stores something. So in this case, a repository, a Git repository is storing your files or your code, whatever. It's storing all your files that you want to keep a track of, you know. So that is a repo. So now let us try and understand how GitHub works, how, how the workflow is. So we'll be going through all of these: staging, committing, and forking. So let us try and understand on this, right? So let us say that every circle in this is a commit. So I'm representing every circle, every commit is a circle, right? So let's say that I have a file and I'm continuously making some changes, and then I'm also saving the changes. So for every change I save, I have a commit, right? So I have made a few commits right here. So this is what GitHub works on is branches. So there is another important feature on Git called branches. So the main file that you have is always, so you always start with something called a master branch. So this is a master branch, and you can always run things in parallel. Like I just mentioned, if A and B want the copy of the file, A here and B here, so A can have his own little branch where he can, update his login page and make his login page, and B can have his own little branch on the side where he can implement his own features that he was asked to implement. So what we are trying to do here is that we are trying to create new features on a separate branch itself, so that the main code, which is this one, the main code does not get affected. That's the whole point. We do not want to break any code that we have. So let's say that B messed up something and the app is down. So it will not affect the main branch because the B is implementing his features in his own branch. And likewise, if something goes wrong in A, nothing will happen to the master branch. The main code will still remain. So how you basically go about making these commits, making these changes is, let us try and understand that. So first of all, what you do is you have a file, you make some changes, right? So let's say you make a login page, some login page, and you implement another feature, and you implement something else. So the first step in this is actually going ahead and staging your files, going to the staging area. So first step is I want to choose what I want to commit onto GitHub. So first stage is called staging. So let's represent it like that. So first stage is staging, right? So I go ahead and actually stage these two files right here. Let's say that I want to commit and actually officially save these files onto GitHub. So first I'm going to stage these two files. And once they're staged, so staging refers to getting the files ready for a commit. Okay, so let's say I didn't want to add this feature right now because it's incomplete, but I'm still working on it, right? I'm continuously making changes. So it has been changed, but I do not want to commit it yet. So the first thing that I do is I choose the files that I want to stage, right? So I stage that. And once I'm comfortable with whatever I want to stage or whatever I want to commit, I go ahead and commit this file, right? We'll be talking about all this on CLI, that is the command line interface. So I officially commit these files here, and then I finally push my code. The key term is push. I push my code onto the branch I'm working on. So that creates another circle like that. So again, first what we do is we stage our changes. We make sure that these are the files that we want to change, this and this. And then we go ahead and commit the changes. It's plain English, like I'm committed to these changes. And finally, I push those changes. All right, so let's go ahead and check out the definition for all of this. So again, you stage your changes beforehand, right? And then when you're happy with them, you commit them onto your official repository. And the repository, as I mentioned, is just, you can take it as a huge folder where all your files are, right? And then you can also create a branch. We'll be talking about forking a little later on. So you create a branch, like A and B have created their branch and they're implementing different features, right? So where you can test your own changes. So it will not break the main code that you have, right? So those are branches, right? So let us see the other things we have. Okay, so now let us actually go ahead and talk about these. So merging, as I've already mentioned, merging is merging two branches together. That is two files. So as I mentioned that A was working on something and B was working on something. You can merge these two into a single file, right? So what these were, what A and B were two branches actually, right? So if I have a repository, this is the master branch as I've already mentioned. Let me denote it with an M, with an M. And then I have A committing his changes, making changes to his file. And then I have B. So what this branching is doing actually is it's giving them the entire code, right? From here till here, whatever has been changed, A and B have that, and they're implementing their own changes down the line. And let's say that A's code is working flawlessly, like it is fine right here. It is working nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to implement A's changes into my final code. A has got the green flag, and now he has been merged into the branch. So branch A has been merged into the master branch. But B, his code broke or something. So I don't really want his branch. I'm not gonna merge his branch right now. So he does not get the green flag. I've only added the features of A into my final file. So that's how branching works, right? So that's how you branch and merge your code. So let us talk about a really important aspect in Git, that is cloning and forking. So let us actually go on to a new page, right? So let us talk about cloning. So let us say that you have a remote repository. Remote again means that it is hosted somewhere. It is not locally on your machine. Report that it's called remote. Remote, okay? So it is somewhere, but it's not on your machine. That's what you call remote. Okay, so let's say that this is a remote repository, and it has some branches and stuff. Maybe a branch coming out of here. So this is a remote repository. Now let us say that you want this entire code onto your local machine. Let's say you want to work on this offline, or you want the entire code of some repository on GitHub. So you clone this repository onto your local machine. So now you have the entire code on your local machine. The same thing you have on your local machine. So this is called cloning. Now, please do keep this in mind that you can clone any repository you want, but you cannot commit changes to any repository. That is because you might not have permissions to do so. So let's talk about that in brief too. Okay, so let's say that I cloned this repository, right? Maybe this is some Google's repository of something they're working on. So I simply clone it, and then I make some changes, and then I try to commit the changes, right? As we saw last time, I stage them first and then I commit them. So if I try and commit these changes, it will not let me commit these changes because I'm not allowed to, right? It is not my repository. I do not own this, nor am I a part of their organization. So I cannot commit these changes. But if it is my own repository, I can clone, and then I can also commit the changes, right? So here is where forking comes in. So now you might be thinking, how do I contribute to Google's code if I want to? So what you do here in this case is something called a fork. So this is Google's account where their repository is hosted. And let us say that, this is your account. I'm going to name it AD. So what forking will do is it'll create an exact replica of the same repository into your account, right? So you can have the same working repository, the exact same thing, continuation. So you can have the exact same thing on your account. Now what you can do is you can do whatever you want with this. You can create new branches. You can commit whatever you want onto this. But please remember that all the changes are happening on your account. Google is not being affected by any of this, right? Because now you kind of own it, right? You don't really own it, but you can commit the changes, right? So as I've mentioned, that committing meaning, commit means that you have pushed the code into your branch and it becomes a little circle like this, which I've denoted, right? But right now, I still cannot commit the changes to official Google, Google's official repository. What do I do in that case? So as I mentioned that you can push your changes to your own repository, but you cannot do that to others' repository, right? So in this case, what you will do is, let us say that you created a new branch here. and you implemented some of your own changes. And now you want Google to notice these changes that you have made. Okay. So in this case, what you do is you request Google, so you get in contact via GitHub and you request Google to pull your code in, right? That's because, it's simple. Like, I cannot push it into your repository because I do not have access to. I cannot push it. Please pull my code towards yourself, right? Does that make sense? Again, so let us try and, I guess this is a little messy. So this is Google, right? And let's say this is you. So you've made changes on Google's repository. You've made some changes, right? And let's say this is the entire Google's repository. Now I cannot directly push my changes towards them because, again, I do not have the permissions to do so. So what I'm asking Google to do is, if Google's going to come and pull my requests, pull my changes towards itself. That will only happen if they like your code. They always have the permission, they can always reject your appeal. So this is something called a pull request, right? The key term here is pull request. So I send Google a pull request, so they'll see my pull request and they can actually pull my code towards them. So this is what pull request is. In simpler terms, if you want to add your code to someone else's project, you can open a pull request, right? I do not have access to push my code towards their repository, so I'll ask them to pull my code, right? And if they like it, they will merge it onto their branch. So these are some of the terminologies, and now we'll be looking at a little more because we'll be using them in our command line interface. So let us, again, just for once, have a look at branching. So here I have several commits, right? This is my master branch. And I create a new branch from this third commit, and I'm working on my new features. This is also called a feature branch, as it shows in the photo. There are different types of branches too, but for now, we'll not get into that. So this is called a feature branch. There are branches like hotfix branches. So for now, let us just say that, you're implementing a new feature on this branch. So just name it feature branch. So again, in this photo, you can see that, I create a branch and then I implement some changes. And then I merge my branch into the master branch. That is because I have the permissions to do so. So I can simply merge my branch, right? So we have already talked about cloning. And so cloning, again, you can simply clone the project onto your local machine. Pushing is committing the changes that you have already staged onto your remote repository. So this add command, so as I mentioned before, first you need to stage your changes. You need to make up your mind that, yes, I'm going to be committing these files. So you need to stage them first. How do you stage them exactly? That's what I didn't tell you, right? So for staging them, you use this command called add, and that will add your changes to the staging area. And then status, okay, all of these are command line arguments. So you'll be understanding it better once we start implementing this. Status will tell you all the files that have changed or which are ready to be committed, right? So we'll be talking about all these terminologies a little later when we use our command line interface. And pulling, okay, so I've not really mentioned pulling before. So pulling is when you want to, everything is self-explanatory here. Let's try and understand it here. So let's say that you have been working on something, right? And people are constantly, let us say that, it's a Sunday and you're in India, right? So it's a Sunday for you, but let's say that someone in America or somewhere else is still working on some feature. So you do not have the latest features of whatever he has worked on, right? So in this case, onto your local machine, you have all the previous changes that you made, but maybe you're sleeping and someone in America is working on this project. So he has updated some files on this branch. So what you can do in this case is you can pull these changes onto your local branch, onto your local machine. So that is what pull means. So this command fetches and merges changes onto your remote server. So pull actually consists of two steps. First is the fetching step, and then is the merging step. So let's not get into that here, but yes, pull has two stages, and that's how you pull something onto your local machine. And then there's another command called checkout. So checkout is basically switching, used for switching branches. So maybe I'm working on master branch and I want to work on a new feature on the feature branch, or A is working on his own branch and he wants to maybe change to master branch. So checkout is used for that. So now let us move on and check out what's going on. So you have learned all these, or at least you have an overview of what is going on now, right? You know what Git is, you know what GitHub is, and you have kind of seen what cloning, forking, pulling means, right? You have all this idea. So now let us actually go ahead and make a new repository on GitHub. You can follow along if you want. You can follow all these steps, and you can also maybe contribute to the repo that I'm going to make right now. So let us go ahead and make a new repo on GitHub. All right. So this is the GitHub homepage, right? So most of you might have seen this already. So right off the bat, you can actually make a repo anywhere from anywhere you want. So there's a button here, and there's a button here too. So you'll be going here and clicking on New Repository. Again, a repository is a place where you store your code. So right now, I'm going to be creating a new repository, all right? So here, I'm going to be naming my repository. Let's name it Git Basics, right? So now I'm going to hit Create Repository. So this will create an empty repository where I can throw in whatever I want. I can throw which files I want, right? So here, it's an empty space where I can store my files. All right. So now what we are going to do is we'll try and create a file. So please remember that we are still working on Git, but GitHub is just making it so much easier for us that you're not realizing it right now. And when we use command line interface, you will have a better understanding of what is actually happening behind the scenes. So I'm just going to go ahead and simply click on this, create a new file right here. Right. And OK, so this is create. So I've just clicked create a new file. And now I'm going to name this readme.md. So again, this file readme.md is a really important file when you're working on your projects. So this file will give anyone who has come to your repository a brief overview of what your code is and what it is, what features you have in your app or something. So this readme.md file is really important to have. It's a good practice to have. It's not mandatory to have, but it is important, and it's good practice to have this readme.md file, so that whoever is whoever visits your repository has an idea of what this code is and what's going on inside. So let's actually go ahead and try writing something down. So this is let's type, right? So I have this down, and now, if you didn't know that already, MD stands for Markdown. So yeah, I'm going to make a new file, and then I will commit this new file. As we already know, commit means pushing. I mean, committing is saving the file. But in Git, as soon as you click commit new file, it will also push the new file to your master branch. So by default, this is the title of the commit. So please make sure that you provide a descriptive message of whatever you're committing, right? So that whoever is reviewing your code can actually check out whatever changes you have made. So right now, by default, it says, create readme.
Aditya?
Oh, yeah?
There is a question. So the question is by Arpit, and he's asking, why is the staging, let me just open my Canva as well. Why is the staging even needed when you ultimately need to commit to the file? So,
all right. So I actually guess I've explained that anyways. So staging, let's try and understand staging again. So let us say that you have a new file. You have a file you're working on, right? So let us say that you have implemented the login feature in this. Let's say that you have been working on for a really long time on this file. So you have implemented login feature. You have implemented a new page, and you have also implemented some other feature which is not ready yet, but you have made changes to this file. So what I want to do is, I do not want to commit all these 3 files, right? By default, it would save whatever has changed, right? But I want to save only this login page and this new page that I've created. So for that, I will need to send it to the staging area. I can send all the files I want, but I might not want to send some particular files, maybe because I've not, finished implementing them properly, or I'm not finished implementing them yet. So I can only send these two files to the staging area. And then once they're in the staging area, I can commit them. What I'm trying to say is if you do not want to commit all the files because you might have incomplete features, you can only commit selected files by using this staging area. I hope that clears the question. And now let's move on.
I would also like to mention one another use case for staging. So staging is actually also used, for example, if you are working on a project. So as Aditya has already mentioned, you could be working on multiple projects. Multiple people could be working on the same project. So sometimes when you have made some changes in the file, right? And then you realize that you forgot to change branch after making those changes. So in that case, when you try to commit those files, it is going to tell you that you have made some changes, so you can't change the branch because there are some uncommitted changes. So in that case, also you can stage your change, which is basically storing those changes in some other location, but not committing it, just storing it in some other location, and then changing the branch and then bringing back those changes in that branch. So that is one interesting use case for staging as well. That's
I guess we lost his voice there. Okay, so yeah, that is another great feature of staging, as Amit just mentioned. So let us actually move on. And again, we were committing this new file onto GitHub under this new repository called Git Basics. So as I was saying that you have this new you try to keep it as descriptive as you want. So this is the title of a new commit, and you can have more description under there, right? So for now, I'm going to leave it to the default title, that is created README, and I'm going to simply commit this new file, right? So now, as you can see, it says that. So let's try to understand what is going on here, what it is trying to tell us. So here I have my new file. So GitHub by default shows you the README file down here. It does not show any other file simply like this, but ReadmeMD is a special file, and it will show you it down here, right? So as it was the markdown language, it has become the title, right? I used hashtag before this. So it shows me all the files that are under this repository, that is readme.md as of now. And it shows me the commits that I've made. It is only one commit right now. And here you'll find all the branches that you have. So right now I'm on the master branch, and it is the default branch, as you can see, right? So now let us actually try and making another commit. Sorry, let's try and make another commit. So this is a new commit, right? So again, I've updated the README file. So it says updated README, and maybe I can type added a new line, right? So now I can simply commit these changes again. So these changes are onto the master branch. So please note that here I'm directly clicking the commit button, and it is also pushing the changes for me. GitHub is taking care of all that, right? So as you can see, it says this is a new commit and my file has been updated. So if I go back to code now, right? So you can see that it shows me that I have two commits right now because I committed I saved two things, right? So now let us try and understand what these commits are. So you will find that every commit has a unique ID, right? So you can identify every commit uniquely. Why? So if I click on this, you can identify every commit uniquely with this hash, right? So we'll be talking about this a little later too. So in this commit, GitHub has a really nice representation of whatever I've done. So green meaning I've added these lines, right? So it shows me that I've added 3 lines, and this is what I've changed in my first ever commit. So now if I go back and go on to the second commit right here, it'll show me that I've added these 3 lines, and the ones in the white mean that this has been untouched, Only these things have been added. All right. So this is what a commit means. I'm saving these changes onto my repository. So now let us try and, now you might have already noticed that I'm working remotely on this. I do not have anything. This file does not exist on my PC. It is online. So what if I want to work on this locally, right? So let us go ahead and actually try cloning this repository, as I mentioned. So for that, I'll be launching VS Code right here. So let us have this, right? So in Visual Studio Code, I'm going to create a new folder. So I'm going to name this folder maybe Git Basics, right? So now I've created a new folder. I'm going to open it. And within this folder, so here's the folder. You can see it right here. I'm going to open up a command, a terminal, right? So, all right. So now we will try and clone the remote repository from GitHub onto our local machines. Okay. So how do I do this? I am currently in a folder named Git Basics webinar. I've just run the pwd command, right? And now I'll try and clone this. So if you remember, the command for this was clone. So before any command, you need to run Git. Okay. So before all of this, just to verify which version of Git you have or whether you have Git installed or not, you can just run this command called git version, and it will show you the version, right? So now let us try and clone a repository. So how would I tell Git that, which I want to clone this particular repository? So I'm going to run this code git clone. And for telling GitHub that, for telling Git that this is the particular repository I want to clone, so I'm going to go ahead and click this code button right here. And now I'm going to copy this, right? And please remember that this URL right here is not the same as this, okay? It has a .git extension. So please do not copy this and then paste it. You have to paste this itself. So I'm going to go here and paste this. So you'll notice that it has a .git extension. So you can kind of make sure that this is the repository and this is the correct URL. So when I click enter, it's going to say that it's cloning into Git Basics. Git Basics is, right? So let's clear this out. So now if you see right here, this file or this folder has just appeared on the left, right? So this happened because I just cloned the repository, right? So if I run pwd again, I'm currently in Git Basics. And inside this, I'm in Git Basics webinar. And inside this, I have my repository Git Basics. So if you go and see right here, this is the repository that I had named, right? So this is what I have. Now, you might have a question, how does Git know that, these two folders look the same? There's no big difference. So how does Git know that this folder belongs to Git, right? How does it know that? So I'm going to be running a command which shows you the hidden folders. So I'm currently in this Git Basics webinar folder, and it has two hidden files. They're just there, and there's only Git Basics. So now if I move on to Git Basics, and then I run the same command, you will see that it has an additional hidden file. It is a hidden directory, which is .git. So with the help of this, Git is keeping a track of all the changes that you're making locally on your machine, right? So this is how GitHub knows that you're making changes. So right now, as you can see, I'm in the Git Basics, and let me go ahead and open this file. So here you can see it has the exact same contents, whatever I have here, it has it here. Just that this is a little bigger because it doesn't show me the markdown preview here, right? So I'm going to try and create new changes to this. So as soon as I hit enter, you can see that it has shown me this green. It has highlighted this. So Git knows that or VS Code knows that you're making a new change. So it has highlighted that there. So now I'm going to type in let's say new change from VS Code. All right. So now I'm going to make these new changes and maybe hello from VS Code.
Aditya.
Yeah.
Can you change the background color of VS Code because people are having trouble seeing? And can you increase your font size?
Oh, let me try and do that.
Okay, you can press Control Shift P. I don't think you have control in MacBooks. Anyway, you can press Control plus plus to increase the font size.
All right,
Yeah.
I guess that
Yeah.
should help.
And I think, how do you open the shortcut menu in VS Code? I think it's
Not really sure.
Control, Command Shift P, and then change the color theme to white or something, because people will be
Maybe I
able
can
to
do
see.
it here.
Appearances. All
Not
right, you
even
continue with this session. If I find it, I will just interrupt and let you know.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I've increased the font size. So you can still see that, Git knows that you have these three, or you have changed something in here. So I'm going to simply save this file right now. And down here in the terminal, let us have a clear big terminal, right? So you will find that Visual Studio Code has highlighted for me that, this file has been modified. So it shows me this M right here. So let's see what Git has to say. I'm going to run Git Status command. So you can see that it says that you have modified this file. Now Git knows that you have modified this file. So now let us actually try and add a new file here. I'll name it, let's name it something, right? So I'm going to create a new file, right?
Aditya, try pressing Command Shift P, P for potato, and try P, and then type color. Preferences, color theme. Change it to white or something. Yeah. Just use the arrow button on your keyboard to choose it. I think it'll change accordingly.
Yeah.
Looks nice. Awesome.
All right. So what I've done right now is I've added a new file. It's an HTML file and I've named it something, right? So now if I run Git Status again, so you can see it says that I have modified this file and it has untracked files. What does this mean? So GitHub does not, or Git does not know what this file is. It was just added, right? So how can I tell Git that, I want to commit these files? So I can run this command called git add, and I can, if I write a dot after this, it's going to commit all the new changes and all the new files. It's going to add all the new changes and all the new files onto the staging area. But I can also, put in select files, whatever I want, right? So for now, I'm going to commit everything, or I'm going to put everything to the staging area. And now, if I run Git Status again, it has turned green. So now Git knows that I've made changes to these files and it's happy about it, right? I'm ready to commit my changes. So I'm just going to go ahead and commit. So this is the commit command on the CLI. And this -m stands for the message. So if you remember, we had a title message on Git. So I'm going to put in, add a new file, right? So I'm going to commit this. So it says that 2 files have been changed and there have been 4 insertions, and that modified and the green thing is gone. So now Git knows that I've done stuff. Now, please note that I've committed the files, unlike GitHub. So let's try and refresh this. You see there are no changes. The last commit was 10 minutes ago, right? So now GitHub makes it really easy. I just press a button saying commit, and it also pushes the changes. So now right here, I need to do that manually. So I'm going to go ahead and call this command called git push, right? So actually before this, let us see what branches we have, right? So currently I'm working on the master branch, and with the star denotes that, I'm currently on this branch. So git branch lists out all the branches that you have, and currently I'm working on the master branch. So there is only one branch. So git push will directly push the changes to the master branch. Now there is something called an upstream that you have to set. If we'll be talking about that later, but there is something called an upstream. So if you want to push your changes, you will have to set an upstream. But right now there's only one branch, which is the master branch. So I will be directly pushing these changes. There you go. So it's pushing these changes, and there you go. So it has pushed these changes successfully, and I will go here and refresh my page. So as you can see, a new file has been added, something.html. And I also have this big thing, new change from VS Code, blah, 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 right? So this is how you push changes from your local machine onto GitHub. Okay, so now let us actually try and create a new branch. Right now, I only have one branch. You can see it right here. I only have the master branch, right? So now I'm going to try and create a new branch. So for that, I'll have to write git branch. Okay, so let's see again. I have only one master branch. So there are two ways of creating branches. So I'm going to create a branch named, let's say, new feature, right? So this command will just simply create a new branch. Now, as you can see, I have a second branch, but I'm still on the master branch. So how do I jump over to the new feature branch that I just created? So I'm going to go ahead and type out git checkout, and I'm going to check out to the new feature branch, right? So now it says that I've switched over to branch new feature. So now please note that I have switched over to branch new feature, and I have all the changes that I made because I made a branch from the latest commit on the master branch, right? So let us actually maybe try and understand that, right? So I made some changes, and I'm currently right here. And from this, I've made another branch. Right? I've not saved anything yet, but this is my new branch. And if I start committing, right, so I'll have a new branch here. So I have all the previous changes that I just made, right, on this branch. This is the master branch, and this is the new feature branch, right? So just a small little thing to help you understand it better. So I've switched over to the branch new feature, and if I run git branch again, see, so it shows the star next to the new feature. So which means I'm successfully on the new feature branch. All right, so let us try and make some changes on this new branch. Let us say I want to test something out, but I have a new. So let's just type something here. I'm going to save this, and here, let us make new changes. New stuff from a new branch. All right. So I made these changes. Now if I run git status here again, right? So I just modify these two files. I've added this here. Now remember that I'm on the new branch. So whatever I'm doing right now will not affect the master branch. It shows me that I'm on the new feature branch. And I've made some changes onto this too. That is denoted by all of this. So I'm going to run git status. So now as you can see, it shows me that I've modified these two files. And now I'm going to git add everything. So there's another shortcut here. So I can directly add all the files, right, by using this shortcut. So git commit am, right? So this flag here stands for A is, committing adding all the files, and M stands for the message. So new changes, right? So it's going to do both the things. I do not have to type git add again. So it says 2 files change and 4 insertion deletion stuff, right? So run git status again, right? So everything is clean, stuff's done, right? So everything has been committed. But right now, if I see here, I have committed the changes, and I've made a new branch, in fact, but it still shows me that I have a single branch, right? So he does not know, Git does not know remotely that I've created a new branch. So how do I tell him that? If I try git push now, let us just confirm again. We are still on the new feature branch, right? And if I try git push, it's going to give me an error. That is because now, new feature is a new branch, and Git does not know about this new branch yet. So we will have to set something called an upstream to this branch. You can do that by using this command right here, or else a shortcut for this is git push. Instead of writing the stream upstream and stuff, set upstream, you can simply do -u, and then origin and new feature. So origin is a remote on Git. So that's where all your files are being committed to, and that's how everyone is keeping track of whatever is going on. right? So branch new feature has been pushed. So let's clear this out. Now let's go here. Okay, it already shows me that new feature. It has detected that is a new branch, but it still says one branch here. So let me refresh this. So now it knows that I have two branches, and it has the new feature branch right here. I can see it, and it has new features, right? So new feature had pushed it. So now it is asking me to compare and pull request, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a pull request to my own repository, and as I have the access to my own repository, I'm also going to merge these changes, right? So, but before going on to that, pay attention here. So we are currently on the master branch, and it does not have the new changes. But if I switch over to the new feature branch, it has this new changes, new stuff from the new branch, and the master branch does not have this. So currently I'm working on two different branches, right? And now what I want to do is I want to merge these two into, I want to merge the new features that I've added from a new branch onto my master branch. So here is where you write your pull request. So if you're sending a pull request to big organizations, you have to make sure that you are as descriptive as you can. You mention all the changes that you have made. You do not want to, just type in new changes, but it's my repository, so I'll just do that. You tell that what changes you've added, which page you've updated, stuff like that. Please do not just simply leave this description area and create a pull request if you're doing that in real life. So for now, I'm just going to create a pull request, and up here I'm going to get, yeah. So see, I get this thing, right? That I have got new pull requests. So as this is my own thing, I'm just going to merge. So before merging, you can see that Git tells me this branch has no conflicts. So everything is fine. There are no conflicts. We will be talking about merge conflicts a little later. So it has no conflicts. I can simply merge this and confirm merge. So now it's going to show me up in purple. Yeah. So it's going to show me that I have merged these changes. So I've merged one commit into master from the new feature. So now if I go on to code, right? So now you can see that the master branch now has the new stuff from the new branch, right? So this is how simple it is to merge branches on GitHub at least. Okay. So now let us go back to our VS Code and check out our branch. So we're still on the new feature branch, right? So what if I go back to, using the checkout command, I go back to master. So you will find that the changes have not been, my local repository does not know the changes that have been made. So here it does not have this message, new stuff from new branch. And even if I go to something.html, it has nothing. But whereas this one has stuff in it, right? So what am I going to do now? To keep in sync with the remote repository, I'm going to run this command as I've already mentioned. I'm going to pull the changes that have been made recently. So I'm going to run this command called git pull. So let's just confirm it shows it right here anyways, that we run the master branch. I'm going to git pull. I'm going to pull all the changes. So let's just see the changes here or here itself. I'm going to git pull. And you can see that it has updated the file automatically, and it shows me what has happened, right? So I have just simply pulled the new changes from the remote branch to my own branch, right? So now there is another command called git log. It's going to show me the different commits that I've made over time. It is on the terminal itself, so I can check out git log. It's going to tell me all the changes. So now let us actually try. So now I'll try and demonstrate what a merge conflict is, right? So we just saw that the merge was successful because there were no conflicts. Now let us try and understand what a merge conflict is. Once again, I am on the master branch, right? So please pay attention here. Git conflicts, the merge conflicts are really pain. It's a pain, right? Git conflicts and resolving them and stuff. I'm just going to do a simple demonstration on how how merge conflicts work. So I'm on the line 12 on master branch. Okay. Let us say that I type I am the master. Okay. I'm saving this, and what I'm doing is I am adding all these to the staging area. You can also use the shortcut here, but just to show you guys, again, I'm going to run git status. So it shows me that I've modified this, and now I'll simply commit these files. The master, I'm just going to put that here, right? So it says that one file has changed, right? So Git officially knows that I've changed something on the master branch. But what if someone else who was working on the feature branch, what was the name? Okay, I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the branch. New feature, okay. So I'm going to check out to the new feature branch. So switch to new feature, and whatever I just typed went away because new feature is a separate branch. Everything's happening separately, right? So what if I type in, please consider this. So what I'm doing here, what I'm trying to show you here is that I made changes on line 12 of both of the files, right? So let's try and understand what is happening here. I have a file, this is on the master branch, and on the same file, which is on the new features branch, there is some stuff, right? So in this particular line right here, right? So this guy has made some new changes, right? He has written some new stuff on the same line, and even this guy has written new stuff, right? So when I try to merge these two together, Git will not know which file to keep. I mean, which line to keep, right? Both have changed the line, and it's not like master has to be given more priority or whatever. You have to solve this conflict manually. This is called a merge conflict, which is where the same files or the same lines have been changed, and Git cannot automatically make sense of what is going on here. So as I've changed this, let's run Git status again just to check out everything is clean. So I've checked it out. I'll save this. So let's say that I modified this. So I've added this, please consider this. And now I'm gonna commit these changes. Feature branch. Oh, sorry, I guess I forgot to add them. So I haven't added them to the staging area. That's why this happened. Right. So I've committed the changes in both. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check out to the master branch. So I have checked out to the master branch, right? I have changes on the same line 12 on both the branches. So now I'll try and merge these two branches locally on this machine. So I'm going to type in git merge. This is the command to merge two branches. So now I'm trying to merge my master branch with my new feature branch. When I try and do that, there you go. So it says that there is a conflict. Git is not able to resolve what is going on here. It says that merge conflict in README. Automatic merging has failed. Okay, so what VS Code has a really nice feature where you can simply click here and accept the changes, whatever is happening for doing it manually. So now, as you can see, it says that I am the master right here, and my new feature branch is telling me to please consider this, right? So that's how I made the changes. So now I have these options to accept the current change, which is on the master branch, accept the incoming change, or accept both the changes. So it's going to keep both. But for demonstrating something important, I'm going to accept the current change. So please remember, I am currently in the master branch, right? And this is what was written in the master branch. I am the master. And if I accept the current change, you will find that nothing has really changed in the master branch, right? I've not changed anything. But let's clear this out. If I run git status, it's going to show me that something has happened. Git cannot make sense of what is happening. That is because I've merged two branches into one. And now I need to tell Git that I've merged these two, right? So for telling, I can just simply run, I'll add everything, and then I'll run git commit again. Okay, so I've committed these changes, and now I'm simply going to push them off to our repository. Right. So I made some changes, right? So if I refresh this here, Okay, I forgot to delete that, right? So this was in the file. Anyway, so it is the new stuff, and it says I am the master. I didn't delete this. So GitHub basically shows you, this was showing the merge conflicts, right? That this was in the master branch and this is the incoming change. So this is how merge conflicts work. And this is how you basically make sense of merge conflicts and how you resolve them. So now we are moving towards the ending, right? So you have learned a lot of things. You have learned branching and stuff, merge conflicts, right? So let us go ahead and try. So if you go to insights right here and click on network, it does not load sometimes. Let us hope that it loads. So this gives you a visual representation of all your branches that you have on Git, all the branches that you've been working on in a really nice visual manner. Okay, so it does not want to load right now. Let us not bother with it, right? So now I'm going to try and explain the forking. So this is my branch. I mean, this is my repository, right? It belongs to me. This is me. So you can see that I am logged in right now. But what if I were to access this from another account? So let us actually try and do that. Let us. Okay, so this is my other account. This is a simple test account, right? So I've made this just for this demonstration purpose. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go to my So I'm going to go to my repository right here, right? And it shows me all the commits that I've made and whatever I've been changing. But this guy does not belong to the organization, right? He cannot simply contribute. So let me just show you this interesting thing right here. So see, Git is making it so much easier for us. So currently I'm on the guy who owns the repository, right? I'm in that guy's account. And if I go on and try to edit this file, it's going to directly show me that you can edit this file because you have the rights to do so, right? But if I try to do the same with this guy who does not have the permissions, right? So if I go ahead and try and click, try and edit this, Git will tell me that you need to fork this project and then you can edit the file. So it says that Git is smart enough to know that you cannot simply contribute to this project because you're not a part of the organization. So now you'll have to fork this project and then make changes. So I'm going to do that here. I'm just going to simply click this pencil and Git will fork this project for me, right? So it says that we have created a fork of this project. Okay. So these are the new, let me just zoom that in, changes from I'm sorry for the typos. New user. All right, so I've made some new changes, and so I don't know who he is, right? I mean, the guy sitting here, he's just happily working on his directory, and someone else wants to contribute. So let us try and write. I have updated the README. Okay, so let me tell. I have added some useful stuff. Okay, so now I'm going to propose changes. So this is where the concept of pull requests come in again. I do not have the permission to directly commit my changes. So I'm going to propose a change, right? So when I propose changes, as you can see, it asks me to create a pull request. So I need to tell this guy right here, the owner of the account, that I have changed something and please pull my code into your repository because maybe I've worked too hard on this and this is a really good feature that I think will help them. So I'm going to create a pull request. Again, I cannot directly push my code to their repository. So I've created a fork and I'm committing these changes to my fork. So this commit is on my personal fork. I'm going to ask them to, pull my changes. So when I create a pull request, right? So it'll again check for conflicts. This has no conflicts because obviously I've not changed any same files, right? So when I come back here and I try and refresh this, so this guy has received a pull request, right? So I'm just simply going to go here and it says that someone has requested you to pull the code. So this user is the owner and this guy is trying to get his code merged. So I'm going to go ahead and check this out. I've updated the README. So this is what he says. So now what he has got to say is I've added some useful stuff. Well, okay. Now I can just see his commits, whatever he has done, right? Again, every commit has a unique ID. So I can clearly see that this is what he has added, right? So I can again go into my pull requests. I'm just going to accept this pull request for now. So let us go here and merge the pull request, right? So this guy just contributed to my repository. He did not have access to it, but he still did, right? That's because he forked my project and did it. Okay, so let us try and get this network thing running again. It takes a lot of time to load, but if it works, so you can clearly see all the branches I've made for this particular project and stuff like that. Okay, so anyway, let us go ahead and, so, you do not want your friends, or let's say you're working with your friends, right? So you want them to collaborate with you on this project. You do not want to fork, and another important thing is that, see, right here on this branch, I can just, if I type some branch, which does not exist, I have the permissions to create a new branch. I'm on this, I'm on myself, the user who owns the branch. But if I go on to this guy's repository and type something, I will not get the option to create a branch, right? Because I do not have the permissions to do so. So what if you're working with your friends, right? And they want to contribute to this project, right? So what you can do is just simply go into the settings and you can add manage access, right? So here you just need to type in your password. So once you have your password down, you can invite people over. And I'm going to try and invite test user, whatever his name is. So he is, oh, okay, 7732. There he is. So I can simply invite him and add user to Git Basics, right? So a test user will get an invitation. And then if he accepts the invitation, he can create branches. He can do whatever he wants, right, on this repository. And now he has access to the repository and he can collaborate. So this is how you can also add your friends to the repo you're working on, right? So let us actually see where we are right now. We actually, okay, so we have used all of this. We have used pull, right? So we just created and then we cloned the directory, right? And we saw this Git folder. So we moved it to the, so yeah, we have checked out to the new branches. We have done everything in here, right? We've used Git Status. Right, so we have done everything. So you can try maybe asking for a pull request right now on my repository if you guys would like. So right, I've shown you. Okay, so there is another thing called issues, which I forgot to mention, I believe. And yeah, so let us actually just try and check, what issues are. So issues are just a way of telling, anyone can create issues. It's not a thing that, only this guy can create issues, whoever owns the repository. So I can just create a new issue even from the guy who does not own the repo or who is not a part of the organization. He can simply create a new issue saying that this does, maybe this doesn't work, right? Some feature doesn't work. All right, so he can just create a new issue and he's not changing the code. He's maybe just a user and he's telling that this feature is not working. So we just found their Git repo and now he's just telling them that, this feature does not work. So now this guy right here, the owner of the repo, so he'll get it to his attention that, there is some feature which is not working on his app. Maybe it's a bug or something's going on. So this is where I can take action. I can decide to take action on the issues that I have, and I can, so let's say issue fixed, right? And then I can close the issue. Say I'm saying that it has been fixed, so I'm going to close the issue with the comment there. So now you can see that this issue has been closed and it will show you all the issues. Right now there's no open issues, but there are closed issues. So you can see them right here. You can see all the previous issues that we have had. So this is just a way of telling people that, this is wrong with your code or something is not working, right? So I guess we have reached the end of the PPT, and this is how you collaborate on GitHub, right? So I hope you guys have understood what I was trying to say, and you have learned something new from this webinar. So yeah.
All right, that was an interesting session. The representation and the details that you have given, it's amazing. There were things that I could understand better, and I love the session. There were so many things that I thought I knew properly, but then in your presentation I understood it better. So thank you so much for your time. And now we have with us Meet, the one who is organizing inGenius and who is managing the whole team for us. So Meet, yes, welcome. Tell us something about our sponsors.
Sure. Hey Amit, hey Aditya, awesome session. Can you hear me?
Yes,
yes, I can hear you.
Awesome. So first of all, it was a great learning session. Yeah, we did Git set prep for our inGenius Git set hack series. That's awesome. So I'll be just talking. So I've always seen this webinar stuff that I come up, I learn, but how do I apply it, or how do I gain something from it? See, I'm gaining knowledge. That's perfectly fine, right? But then how about some real knowledge? How about some real advantage? So me and my team, like me, Dhruv, and everyone, we're just thinking about something or the other way we can, help you guys gain something out of it. So what we've done is, so Aditya covered almost everything that you need to know regarding GitHub version control, everything, even merge conflicts. I love when people talk about merge conflicts and stuff. So now what we've done is we have collaborated with Amigoz. So what Amigoz is Amigoz is a college social network. That's basically like, a Facebook for your own college kind of a concept. So what they do is they help you with conducting events. They help you put up internship stuff. They help you participate in contests. They help you even prepare for some companies, placements, and all that. So everything you need to know as a college student, from having a friend to having a person who you can learn through, or everything. That's what Amigoz does. So it's based in it's a NASCOM incubated company based in Noida, and we are proud to announce them as our live quiz partner. Now here's a catch. Now here's a catch. So this is how it works. So every time you come to our webinar, you post the webinar, we have a short quiz. Now this test your skills that you learn. The questions for this quiz are very simple. That it covers the syllabus from what Aditya and Amit taught. So for this webinar, you can go to the link in description where you will find the steps to participate. And so now you get a chance to win prizes worth 1K after every webinar. And we are very much thankful to Amigoz for that. So it's like, first of all, if I'm a participant, I'm just going to come. I'm going to learn. You're teaching awesome stuff. I'm going to learn that is required for me to participate in the prestigious inGenius hack. Then after that, I'm going to go participate in the quiz on the Amigoz app, whose steps to participate and download is mentioned in the description. Then after that, you participate, and there'll be a live leaderboard. So it's full transparency from our side. So every question has a particular time limit. So if you can answer that correctly, you get 4 marks. If you don't answer that, you get a negative marking. That's what the catch is. So it's not like you just look around and stuff like that. So let's suppose me, Aditya, Amit are participating, and me and Amit got the same score. Now they'll see how much negative marking. They'll see who attempted first and who finished the quiz first. And on the base of that, the leaderboard gets automatically updated, and the top 3 winners get prizes. Now, so for this webinar, we have the first prize as 500 rupees, second prize as 300 rupees, and the third prize has 200 rupees. So you get a chance to win prizes worth up to 1K. So you're going to come to a webinar, gain something, implement it on the quiz side, and then again, take back something in return. We are also in talks with them to have more prizes. Like we'll try segmenting the amount to more and more people, so that more and more people can get something. So it's basic that you get money in your Amigoz cash wallet, and then from that you can redeem it to your Paytm account. Boom, simple, nothing, no going around, going for check or going asking for people for numbers, nothing. It's very smooth process. Go download the Amigoz app from the Play Store, put out the referral coupon code there, and then go to the upcoming section into the Amigoz app, and then participate in the contest happening sharp at 6:30. So it is open from 6:30 to 6:40. It is it has 12 questions, and it has 12 questions. Every question you get 15 seconds to participate. It's a 180-second 3-minute quiz. The person who heard Aditya and Amit talk and who learned something will get the questions are pretty easy. But the catch is, if you would have heard Amit's and Aditya's webinar, you would do it as instantly. But if there's a small ingenious catch there, that if you guys can get it, you get it. So it's a great chance for you guys to learn, implement, and gain something in return. As simple as that.
Thank you so much, Meet, for... Yeah, Meet, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's happening today at 6:30, and I'm looking forward for all of you to download. How's that app? Thanks for joining, guys. Yes.
Yeah.
So any more?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Amit. Go ahead, Amit. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Meet, for the very good introduction to what we are doing throughout this month. So this is just the first event of a host of events that we are organizing for you guys. So this is just a base. What Aditya taught today was just the base that you need to participate in any event, not just event, but also open source, or if you work in a company, or just to participate in all of the webinars that we have. So it was a great session, and Aditya, I think, taught really everything in quite detail, more detail than I was ready to take. I was expecting, because it was so nice the way he drew and everything. I hope you guys have learned a lot. And yeah, as Meet has already mentioned, that we are actually giving out cash prizes through our webinar partner, who we are grateful for sponsoring this entire webinar series. And I guess with this, we can end the webinar, but don't forget to go ahead and register for the quiz, because you will be winning cash prizes, and the quiz is very easy. The cash is, if you finish it quickly, you get the money, and if you can't, even if you know the answer, it doesn't matter. So you have to be on point, sharp 6:30. Do not forget the time. Get your phone, grab it, install the app, sit with the phone, keep your fingers on your phone, and be ready to participate. And I hope the best 3 people who are paying attention in the webinar get the money. Anything you guys want to add before we end, guys?
What type of question? The questions are everything from what Aditya taught. Nothing out of the syllabus, for sure. There's one small catch. If you can get that, that's a tricky question kind of a concept. So if you can get that, boom, nice one. Otherwise, hard luck. But also, guys, if you want to shoot up any questions regarding inGenius Prep Series, or what are future events and all of that stuff, please already the bootcamp calendar is put up on our social media handles. So please do follow that. The link is in description below. All the social media handles, keep yourself updated, because we have a great series of events happening. inGenius Prep Series this month, and next month we start registrations and a lot of stuff coming up. Stay tuned.
If you have any questions, guys, just shoot right now. This is the best time you can ask questions about inGenius. Please shoot.
Okay, any suggestions, any feedbacks? We're also going to drop your feedback form. So we would want you guys to fill that feedback form, because we would want to improve ourselves and help make you guys have a better experience throughout the series that we're organizing now. So any kind of feedback, suggestions, how was Aditya teaching, anything? Because also it's a commendable job. He's a second-year guy just now who entered his 3rd semester, and he's doing pretty much good. He's taking webinars. I've seen him participating in all of those events happening. Yeah, come on.
Please let me know if you have any problems with the webinar. I can definitely try and improve that. And it was really an honor to start off, to be able to, to be the one who's starting off the prep series. It was a great honor for me. Yeah.
It was an honor for us as well to host you today. And yeah, this session was amazing. I just loved it. I cannot stress it enough. I just love the session.
Oh, thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah. Also, if Hacktoberfest coming up next month, this is like the most needed one to,
yes,
for you guys to know. So yeah, also
Yes.
that is also a catch, you guys. Why do you need to push after committing changes?
Okay, so when you're working on the command line interface, you have to push it manually, right? Because GitHub has, GitHub is making things so much easier for you. Because GitHub is already, as soon as you press the button, there is stuff going on in the background, right? So GitHub is doing that for you. GitHub is pushing the changes as soon as you commit them. But in the command line interface, after you have done committing, after you have finished committing, you also need to tell GitHub, you have to push the changes to your remote repo. That is, you can commit the changes. So this is actually another feature of Git. You can work offline. So if you have the code already, you can keep committing the changes. And once you come back online, you can just simply post the changes onto your repo.
Okay, nice. Also, Dhruv is asking a question. I would like the moderator to. Yeah, all right. So all the questions are going to be MCQs?
Yes, all the questions are MCQs. But remember, it's a marking scheme of 4-1. So, तुक्के मारना से पहले सोच लेना. It should not be like Jai Mata Di 1, Jai Mata Di 3 kind of a thing. But it's pretty easy. Like it all covers what Aditya taught, and I guess you guys would nail it literally. Like,
all right, we have another question again. So I hope you can see the screen, Aditya.
Yes,
or do you want me to read it out?
Oh yeah, I can. So when you use the commit command, where the changes get, so everything is happening locally, right? When you're using Git on your command line interface, everything happens locally until you decide to push the changes onto the remote repo. So that's what your repository is just hosted online. You can work and you can commit all the changes locally, even when you're offline. But you need to push them once you're online, and so that they can be stored onto the web and they're safe over there. They don't get deleted by mistake.
All right, awesome. I think you got it. Okay, any more questions, guys? It would be great if you ask questions. It might help somebody who's not ready to ask anything, to understand something they didn't understand. So any questions, do shoot.
I have one question, and that's for Aditya. So at what point, like, I wanted to know regarding this. So, like, I started working on using Git during last year's Oktoberfest, to be honest. Like, I was like, I don't know anything, and then I was like, I used to do everything locally. So what I used to do is, if I want to send a code or something, I used to make a zip file and then I used to send it on WhatsApp, kind of a thing. I used to literally do that. So, how do you think if a person is a beginner, like an ultimate beginner from a non-CS background, and if he wants to get started to coding, how do you think, and open source programming as well? So how do you think he should go about it? Should he just directly go with, like, for example, if I want to go participate in next year's GSOC kind of a person. Okay, I don't know anything about open source, but I want to go ahead and participate in Google Summer of Code coming up. So how do you think that I should go about it? Should I start doing open source from documentation, like committing changes on documentation, and then move about to simple coding, and then move about to projects, or is there any other workflow that you guys have in mind?
Again, this is the question that even I would love an answer to, because again, I really want to try and get into GSOC. I didn't really try it in the first year because again, I was really intimidated by all these open source organizations, Google and stuff. So what I did was instead of directly going into GitHub, I tried to build my skills so that I can at least try and contribute to some organization. Maybe they're working on an app, or maybe ML towards ML. Or I try to build 2-3 skills so that I can actually contribute to a good enough level so that I can actually contribute to their organization, and then learning Git and open source so that I know what is going on there, how I can again make a pull request, and how I can get myself noticed in the open source community. So I would say first maybe build up skills and then try and go to the open source.
Yeah, that's a great thing.
Yeah.
I should at least know what the code is doing. Otherwise, I won't be able to contribute. I get that. Yeah. I get that. Yeah. Okay, guys, there's 5 minutes. The quiz starts. Go to the link in description, participate, and stay tuned. Go do it right now. Amigoz, the college social network. Download the app now and use the referral code in the description. Yes. And also, they have a lot of amazing stuff on their app. It doesn't. They have internships, they have social platforms and stuff like that. So you can always go sign up on any internship. It's more of a platform for college students. That's what they say, social network of college, and I really loved it, and I'm looking forward to having you guys go participate in the quiz and win prizes and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes. So I hope you guys participate in big numbers, and I hope you guys win something out of it. Also, I hope you guys learned a lot from this session. We are coming up with a lot more sessions, so stay tuned. Keep coming back, because if you keep coming back within a month, you can start calling yourself at least an intermediate level developer. So thank you so much for joining, guys. Thank you so much, Aditya, for your time and the amazing session. And thank you so much, Meet, for the very good introduction to what exactly it's going to be like in the next 1 month.
Yeah, the next is on 8th of September, right, Amit?
Yes, the next one is on 8th of September. It's about React. So we have a SME for that session as well, who's going to be coming up and who's going to be teaching us about React and how you can build applications. He is also a Google certified developer. So I won't tell you the name because, of course, the element of surprise should always be there. So he's a Google certified developer, and he's going to be coming up and he's going to be helping us understand more about React and build good applications. And we have other events also, but we'll be making the announcements some point other. Yeah, I think you lost me, I realized. So we'll be making an announcement for other sessions also. We have one on 8th, and I'm forgetting the date for the next one.
It's 11th, I guess. It's more of a Tuesday Friday concept that we love organizing Tuesday Friday.
3-4-3-4, I guess. 3-4-3-4.
Yeah, 3-4-3-4. Yeah. So guys, React is booming. Come on.
Yeah, dude, React. Everybody needs to learn React. It's there in the course as well, but you need. But of course, there are certain things that they don't teach you in the course. But you can learn that if you participate in a webinar, because you're not doing live coding and stuff like that. So it's going to be very important for you guys to participate in that if you want to become a full stack developer or just a front-end developer. I hope you guys join us there on 8th and in other sessions that is going to be involving machine learning and deploying machine learning algorithms and deploying your projects, building the backend, connecting the front end with backend, and a host of other things. And I hope you guys will enjoy all of them just the same. Thank you so much for joining. Go to the link in the description and go ahead and register and participate in the quiz. I hope you guys win. Thank you so much for joining again. I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Yes. # Get Set Prep for inGenius Get Set Hack. Yes.
Thanks a lot for coming, guys. Thanks a lot for having us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.